Boston City Councilor and now candidate for mayor Michelle Wu is with us. Let's go on the record. She's a trailblazer at City Hall, the first woman of color to serve as council president. Can she build on that legacy by becoming Boston's chief executive? She's here today to make her case.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Welcome to OTR. I'm Ben Simoneau in for Ed Harding this week, and I'm joined, of course, by Newscenter 5's political reporter Janet Wu. As we do every week, we're using our large studio here to respect all social distancing protocols, and we are pleased to welcome Michelle Wu to WCVB. Last month, she announced her run for mayor, taking direct aim at the leadership of incumbent Marty Walsh. She's a graduate of Harvard University, a Roslindale resident, and a married mother of two. Thanks for being here, Michelle.
Thanks for having me.
So anyone who watches us regularly knows by now that Michelle and I are not related, but I'm just putting that on the table once again. Michelle, Councilor, as a survivor of COVID yourself, Boston is now officially in the high-risk category. Mayor Marty Walsh won't open up the city like Governor Baker has been suggesting for lower-risk communities, some of which actually border Boston. Did the mayor do the right thing?
You know, there's a lot to celebrate about how our city has come together in crisis, and to be putting science first, we also need to be directing our resources not only towards the immediate relief and band-aids of the situation, school reopening and thinking about our small businesses, but how do we address the long-term underlying crises that have only been exposed and deepened by COVID-19.
But as far as the things that he has done so far, do you have any conflict with that, or do you have any argument with him?
I think it's important that we recognize that the rates are ticking up in Boston right now, as across the state, and to emphasize that our reopening cannot come at the expense of public health. I'm a mom and my son is in Boston Public Schools, and so I know there's been a tremendous amount of anxiety and uncertainty. Even as the city is grappling with this, we need longer term planning. We need a vision that actually lays out the steps for a true recovery. Well,
Councilor Wu, you mentioned your role as a mom and schools, and as you point out, we have seen some of the highest daily case counts we've seen since May. So the mayor has kept schools in Boston mostly digital. We did see a couple of thousand students go back this week. New York City, though, is opening its schools at a much faster pace. They had hundreds of thousands of students return this week. You've got two young sons. Has the mayor handled the school openings properly? Should it be quicker? If you were mayor, what would you have done differently?
You know, we're really not left with great options for our school district to choose between right now. The school district and the administration should have started much earlier, way back when we first shut down schools in March, and certainly earlier in the summer, to lay out the plans for how we could support this system. Our buildings date back, many of them, to before World War II, and only about 30 of the 120 plus Boston school buildings have modern HVAC systems, right? Modern heat, cooling, ventilation. For the rest of the schools, it means cracking the window open and hoping that that will be enough airflow in this pandemic that is largely airborne. And so there's a lot left to go in terms of the facilities, supporting our teachers who are trying to do remote learning in a very new environment and having to grapple with potentially a hybrid system where they will have to teach both in-person and remote students at the same time. It is incredibly stressful all around. We should be supporting our district and think larger than just the school system in a silo.
So should the goal be everybody back in person full time, or do you think hybrid is the best case scenario?
At this point, with our cases ticking up and actually with the citywide average masking the fact that many neighborhoods, in fact, the neighborhoods where most of our school kids are coming from, often working class, immigrant, lower income, residents of color, these have much higher case counts than the citywide average. And so we do need to put health and safety first. We should not be rushing into this, particularly given a recent walkthrough of our school buildings that have found we still haven't even met many of the basic life safety requirements for COVID as we're thinking about when students might come back.
You have not been very aggressive about criticizing the mayor for the safety issues on not reopening the city at the pace that he has, but you have accused him of doing too little to bring racial equality to Boston, and I know these are two subjects that are intertwined. Do you believe the Boston police budget should be defunded, and if so, how much?
We are in a national moment of reckoning against systemic racism, and we see the very same disparities in treatment at the hands of law enforcement, in public health, in economic mobility. play out right here in Boston. And this has been the reality in our city, deep disparities with communities of color relative to more affluent white parts of our city for many, many years. And so I believe that when it comes to our public safety system, it cannot be just public safety on one side, public health on the other side. It is one entire system, and that means allocating our resources in a way to better serve residents' health and safety. I put a proposal on the table with two of my colleagues, Councilor Lydia Edwards and Councilor Julia Mejia, to ensure that we're taking structural steps there, redirecting our 911 crisis response calls so that some, when it comes to mental illness or substance use or some other issues, will be handled by an unarmed force that is not under law enforcement but better serves communities' needs.
We're going to talk about that in just a couple of minutes, but I want to talk a little bit about numbers. The mayor is diverting $12 million from the overtime budget. At least that's what he's pledged to do. How much are you thinking needs to be removed from that budget, and where would you get those dollars?
You know, in fact, it is only it is less than 12 million. It's $10 million that is going to a different part of the city budget. But the big picture is that when we are talking only about a specific line item and the overtime line item, which is obligated by law to be paid no matter what that particular budget says, every hour worked by our Boston Police or granted through the city contract will be paid. So there's a little bit of lack of structural changes here. We need to be talking about the functions that our police department is serving relative to our public health infrastructure and how we truly create that health infrastructure that will lead to safety and health for every resident in the city.
But you have no dollar amount of money that you'd like to see taken out of the budget. I mean, just in general.
Look, this isn't about, you know, whether we're cutting $12 million or $15 million. There's no magic number that will get to equity and addressing the lived experiences of Black and brown residents in the city. This is about reimagining our systems, transforming how we think about what's possible for our city. We cannot simply continue to accept a status quo that is riddled with injustices as something that's just the way it goes. We have to put our resources to rethinking these systems. What are the goals? How do we get there? And most importantly, how do we keep communities at the table to make these decisions?
So, Councilor, let's talk about how we monitor police misconduct. The mayor wants a review board that reports to him. You want a civilian review board that's controlled by city council. Wouldn't that make accountability more difficult, though, if it's spread out among 13 different people on council?
The proposal right now between the council and the mayor is actually relative. It's going in the same direction. The bottom line is that compared to what we have right now, which is a board that is chronically underfunded, does not have the authority or the independence to make real changes, we need an independent board that is made up of civilians that has the authority to subpoena information and then push for accountability. But we can't stop there. It is not enough simply to say we're going to put in some mechanisms to think about how we're addressing when things go wrong, but how do we prevent things from going wrong in the first place? By ensuring that we're supporting the community, bringing in, reimagining a public health and safety infrastructure that keeps people healthy and safe to begin with.
So how else do you bring racial equality to this city besides just monitoring the police department?
This is a long-standing set of actions from city government and from other levels of government that over decades and generations have systemically deprived Black and brown residents of the city of Boston from the opportunity to create generational wealth, pass that down to their kids and their kids after that, and that we continue to see every policy from transportation to our housing crisis to COVID-19 sitting squarely on Black and brown families and increasing these disparities. What we need to do is center equity and justice with every policy that we're proposing, whether it's on climate justice, racial and economic justice, closing the racial wealth gap with the resources that we have. This is a big issue, but there are some very manageable steps that we are missing out on every day. Take COVID-19. The city has spent $17 million in emergency funding just to address this crisis, right? Cleaning supplies and contracting for masks for city workers. Of that $17 million, completely free of your typical processes because it's an emergency, only one contract went to a Boston-based business owned by a person of color. And so if we're serious about closing these gaps, every step must line up with the intentionality both the short-term relief as well as the long-term vision.
You talked about transportation. You mentioned it a few minutes ago. One of your biggest issues is the MBTA, and it is the lifeline for most of Boston residents. But with the pandemic and further erosion of revenue and as riders as well, do you think a free T offering the same routes as you have proposed is still immediately feasible?
Look, we have seen during this pandemic just how foundational public transportation is. Our essential workers kept going to work on our subways, buses, and trains. And while we saw ridership decrease across the system, it is the very routes that go through communities of color and lower income communities that didn't really see those dips in ridership. People are still on the T. They need service. They need it to be affordable now more than ever. We are in a financial crisis right now, along with the public health crisis. And that means not only is it harder for families to be able to absorb the cost of getting to where they need to go safely, but our system cannot fund itself. It is not possible to rely just on the backs of riders to pay for the system.
So you're still pushing forward with free T for all riders?
Absolutely, and I've been proud to work with our Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and our Senator Ed Markey, who have filed legislation at the federal level that would generate billions of dollars to support fare-free transportation and increase service from an equity lens.